Deal.
Those that want to be champions.
That's right. Those who stay shall be champions.
Bandy's going, I'll be there.
Pardon?
If Bandy's going, I'm going.
All right, that's good.
Right.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure. All right, any gratitudes, wins, victories? Samantha got married. That's a victory.
Italy.
I know.
No less.
Lake Como.
That was nice.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah. Did you go anywhere else?
Yes, Switzerland and Austria.
Nice. Have not been to Austria. I want to go do that.
Fantastic.
All right. Okay. Anything else? Who took a listing yesterday? Anybody take a listing?
Yes.
Anybody put a deal under contract? All right. Nice, Mr. Hilton.
Rashmi's not here, but she put 2 yesterday.
Wow. All right. Love it. Okay. All right. So yesterday, there's 2 things I keep talking about: leadership, and I keep talking about just remembering and reminding yourself of who you are. And when you walk through, let's just say, these doors, reminding yourself what you're about and what you're doing. And we're going to do role plays today, but I just want to remind you that it's so important to remind yourself who you're being in every situation, and that each one of you plays a role. And I think it's always a good reminder, right? When you remember what you are as, whether it's a father or it's a mother, or whether you remind yourself that you're a business person, or you're a salesperson, or you're a leader, but just reminding yourself how you show up is a critical component to your long-term success. And I think that we often forget the role that we play. And then you certainly, like yesterday, we talked about leadership skills and developing those and creating more of those, and basically amplifying the things that you do and that you do well. And the balancing act between the boldness and the nurturing side of this business is a clear component to your long-term success. So with that, just again, a reminder, actually I'm gonna put one thing up here and then we're gonna role play some different scenarios. But I just want to remind you, I've done this a lot, but I used to do this almost every week, but I'm gonna do this specifically, Greg, for Kyler Story. You ready?
Thanks, Jorge.
I know. I'm gonna do this right here, Sean, just for you. And you guys have seen it, but I used to
Hey,
write
by
it up
the
here
way,
all the time
you're-
because I had to remind myself.
I used your diagram, on leadership from yesterday in an appointment.
Did you?
It was awesome.
And all right, hopefully it worked. I didn't know if it was gonna work. All
I
right.
think you brought it up, Phil.
I know.
She said,
It was terrible.
Whoever taught you
Nothing
this is
happened.
an idiot.
Right? 240 work days. Just remember, your one objective is to set one appointment. That's right. Jay, do you remember this?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, just check it. Kelsey, you remember it?
Yep.
All right. Set one appointment a day. And the thing that's so fascinating to me about this business, Kyler, is here's the answer. And sometimes we don't want this to be the answer because it is so simple. But 240 work days a year, set one appointment a day. You're gonna attend half of those appointments. So that means in a given year, I know you guys have busy schedules, but that means you go on about 2 appointments a week. Andy, can you handle that? All right, so 2 attended. And people say, why wouldn't I go on the appointment? Well, they either list with someone else, or they don't qualify, or they don't show up, or they just miss the appointment. I mean, whatever the scenario is, just as a reminder. And then you're going to take, and when I say take, you're either going to take the listing or you're going to take the buyer broker. And so that means that 60 of them came together. And then 60, let's just say how many actually sell or how many actually buy. We're not worried about whether it's buyers or sellers. That means if we took about 80% of them, once they've been listed, once they have a buyer broker signed, about 50 of them will sell, and the average commission in this company, Kyler, is how much?
12.5.
12,500 times 50 transactions equals, does anybody remember, 600 and how much? Do you remember, Jade?
No.
$625,000. So I don't understand how it is that everyone's not earning 600 grand. Because I don't understand what you do all day. Because I know if I followed you around all day, I'd be wondering what you're doing. Because I don't understand how an appointment's not set every day if that's the number one thing that we do. And the thing is you can change all sorts of things on this. The reason we role play and practice is because, again, you're not necessarily going to fix massively the amount of appointments you attend, But what you can do is you can massively increase the amount of deals that you convert. And some of you have really high conversion ratios, but you don't have enough appointments. And so even at I guess I would say at the tail end of when I was selling the most, which was several years ago, but it was 87%. Well, this scenario right here, I have it listed at 50% that you're gonna take. So just remember, you can change all sorts of things, or you can surprise the world and your family and your future by setting 2 appointments a day. And then everything doubles up. So again, I don't understand how come everyone's not making $1 million a year. And why I understand it is because everyone focuses on the one thing that is the pain versus the reward. Well, it's gonna be painful to prospect that long. It's gonna be painful to recruit that intensely. But the thing is that that's where the money is made, Kyler. Did you know that?
You told me yesterday.
I did tell you yesterday, a little gentler.
Yep.
Maybe not. Not really. Lord, it was one of those days. I was on it. Even Audrey said, she goes, I heard you back there. I said, well, that was only 2 doors away. So.
I think the whole thing that I treat this like a job. So a workday is not 3 and 4 or 5 hours. It's an 8-hour job. I don't leave like at 2 and 3 in the afternoon. When I leave here at 5 or 6, it's ghost town. There is no one here, and hopefully they're out doing appointments.
They're not, you know they're not.
I know they're not.
I can look at their numbers and tell you exactly what they're doing.
Well,
Nothing.
well, that's what I'm saying.
And that's the whole thing is that why I do this over and over again, why I'm so committed to throwing that up there all the time with so many different people, is because it should be inexcusable not making money. And yet people are not making money. And so they prospect 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I don't care if it takes you 10 hours in a day. Why did you not set an appointment every single day? It needs to be inexcusable. Inexcusable. Like there should be never a day that goes by in this business that you have not set an appointment. It tells me that you are wasting your day, because there's no way you have that many appointments that you don't have the time to set an appointment. And the key to fueling this engine, this Ferrari, or whatever you want to call it, of this business, is the ability to set an appointment. So for me, look, in my early 20s, 30 years ago, I was writing that up there. And I would write it up on a piece of paper, or I had to sell myself again on the idea, this business works. So as long as I work, everything else works. And if you get really serious about this business, you'll set 2 a day, 10 a week, and you'll make $1 million+ a year. And the key is can you allow yourself to have mastery? Can you master repetitious boredom because it gets boring? Can you master the rejection and allow yourself to be rejected over and over and over again? Can you never lose sight of what you really want, what you desire? Can you not focus on the pain of the moment, but the joy and the beauty and the life that you're building in the future? All of these are these things because the numbers work. If I followed you around for an entire week, I guarantee you, if I followed you, you'd set 10 appointments. Because I'd just be and I don't even have to stay, this was crazy. I don't have to say anything when I stand next to someone prospecting. I just have to stand there. And amazingly, they close more and they set more just because I stand there. So then what gives? Why is it that you ask yourself the question, why are you not setting more appointments? This business has not changed in 30 years. It is the one thing. You can create efficiencies, great, to get maybe better leads or better contacts or better opportunities, but it is still the same thing, talking with people. And if you've forgotten that, this is proof that it can work over and over and over again. And it gets to a point to where it literally is some of the easiest money that you'll make. I mean, my heavens, what got me into this business? You used to who went to school where there was lots of people in the room for real estate school? They may go to like live training. Shawnee, remember it was all those people? I'd look around the room and go, Andrea, I'd go, this is my competition. This is who I'm competing with. This is who I'm going to be selling against. And I realized early on how pathetic most people are. And so the thing is that just look at how bad agents are. So if you can't set appointments, you're not gonna make money. But the reality is that so many of you are capable, but you still choose not to. Because you focus on your pain, your agony, you wanna escape, you wanna stop it, you don't feel like it, you wanna feel good. You do all these games inside yourself instead of the one thing that will solve all of it, which is prospect your little heart out. And if you will prospect your heart out, you will win the game. Again, what inspired me, two things. What inspired me in this business was seeing all the people who were failing. So some people are like, oh, look, they're not making it, so maybe I'm not. No, for me it was, they're not making it, of course they're not making it. Look at what they're doing with their life. Look what they're doing with their schedule. They would validate every day why they weren't winning. And so it gave me confidence that I could. The other part is I saw people who were winning, the 10 or 20% of the people who were, and I was inspired by them. I wasn't scared or intimidated by them, I was inspired by them. So be inspired by the people who are winning and be looking at the people who are losing going, man, that's not gonna be me. Look, 71% of the agents in America last year did not do what? Sell a single home. How's that even possible? People are dying, people are divorcing, people are getting new jobs, losing jobs, moving, downsizing, estate sales, notices of default, first-time home buy. I mean, how is it even possible? But it's possible. Because when you're a secret agent, no one knows about you, that's what happens. And so the thing that you gotta remind yourself of is that business in real estate is a contact sport. And you gotta have contacts to be able to win the game. All right, thoughts? Russ, you don't seem very excited about my message. He's over there like, I don't know. Just kidding. Russ is the best example. He said he's not going home until he sets appointments. Ever heard that story from him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he put a bed in his office.
That's right.
I never did that, no.
But that's my point. He goes, I'm not going home until I set an appointment. Some of you, the first thing you're thinking about is after one contact, when can I go home? And I would just echo that you gotta work through and negotiate through the pain of it all. So go ahead.
I think if you look at other professions like a doctor or a lawyer or a firefighter, like firefighters just, this house is not getting put out, so I'm
Right.
going home now. All the surgery isn't working, I'm just gonna go home now. It's like they finish a job, they get to a point where they do what they need to do before they go home. So just think like that, really. You're a professional, you're not like
Exactly.
you're not some hope it works out. Like
People say, look, what do they losers say? Losers say I did my best. Winners do whatever it takes to win. That's what winners do. Losers say I did my best today. That's just because you know what you're focused on? I want to feel good.
I tried.
I want to feel good, so I better say it's okay and I did my best. That's what losers say. So just remember what winners really do. They focus on winning. And they recognize that no matter what's going on, that they can figure it out. So figure it out. Figure out how to set an appointment every single day, and you will be rich. Some of you are having problems economically, and I will tell you, you are like 2 or 3 transactions away from your problems being solved. And yet, heaven forbid, only prospect 2 hours. My life will change forever if I prospect and set an appointment a day. But I can only do 1 or 2 hours of prospecting today. And yet, you are 1 or 2 deals, maybe 3, away from a whole different life. And yet, you still choose to not prospect. You choose to not get on a phone for hours upon hours. And I can tell you that my answer, when anyone's having a really bad time, I always say, oh, the answer is 5 hours of prospecting a day for the next 3 weeks. And they go, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, for 3 weeks. Because after 3 weeks, you won't have time to prospect for 5 hours a day. But if you prospected for the next 3 weeks for 5 hours a day, 6 days a week, you would have literally no money problems. But you choose to feel good, you choose to escape, and by the way, poverty is very challenging. Poverty is hard, poverty is difficult. Been there, done it twice, got all the t-shirts in my closet of how to rob Peter, pay Paul, be poor, not have enough, somehow convince my children we don't need this, be able to say no, but do it eloquently. All of the crap that you guys try to do to make it to where poverty is so hard, but you make it look good. And the thing is, you could solve all of it instantly today if you prospected for 5 hours. And if you did it for 3 straight weeks in a row, you'd never worry about money again. But you will you will negotiate your way out of it. Stop negotiating your way out of it and fix your life. You should not have money. And this job, you're in it to earn money. And so make sure you are. And the numbers don't lie. That's for the example I give is for the lowest talented person I ever see in real estate. It's not the most talented, it's the person who's willing to pay the price of prospecting. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 5 hours to set the one appointment, set it. And maybe you'll get good enough, which you should, you set an appointment every hour. And if you set an appointment every hour, you set 5 appointments a day and set 25 appointments a week. Do you think you're having problems at that point? And some of you are like, well, I don't know, but 5 hours, I mean, that's a lot. Really? Have you considered what it took to pull a handcart across the plains, to this state? Have you considered what it meant half of you would die if you got on the Mayflower? I mean, have you considered the difficulty of what people really do, and then you're worried about your 5 hours of prospecting? You want to solve your problems? 5 hours for 3 weeks, and every problem you have will almost go away. Almost every one of them will be gone, because 99% of your problems go away with good prospecting. Okay. Good, Kyler?
Great.
Okay. And I would love a text from any of you that says you're going to prospect for 5 hours a day for the next 5 or 3 weeks. And I would love to hear your story of how your life changed. Because if you'll do it, your life will change radically economically in it'll change in about 3 weeks. And you may say, well, that seems like a long time. How long are you planning on living? People are telling me they're going to live till 140 now. People are like, oh man, my life's over, I'm 40. Like, how long are you planning on living? I mean, most people, they say, who are age 40 or below will live to 140 years. What are you going to do for the next 100 years? Prospect. That's what we're going to do, right, Andy? Right. We're going to prospect for the next 100 years. All right. Okay. Role plays. So, just a show of hands, how many people are calling for sell-by owners or expireds in this room? Okay, just a couple of you. How many are calling just listed, just solds? Okay, how many of you are calling your sphere on a consistent basis? Okay, how many are calling internet leads? Okay, all right. So here's just a reminder. It's critically important that you're working your sphere. Look, you guys are going to sell, even with internet leads, as I've watched people be able to transition or maintain, and that is that make sure you're calling that sphere. Have you ever, certainly everybody's heard of well, if you haven't, you should, of Ford, which means family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Anybody you heard of that? Yes. You haven't heard of that? Andre, you haven't heard of it?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. All right. Okay, so look, one of the most important assets that you guys are going to build is your ability to work your sphere. It will be one of the most profitable, productive things that you do. Some of you in this room have been in this business a really long time. Some of you a short time. But either way, as you're closing deals, you really want to make sure you're building this asset. And this asset needs to be worked. And we won't get into the details of client appreciations and how many times you should call them. But I would just like to talk about that call and what that call looks like, because no matter whether you've been in this business a long time or a short time, I think there's 3 things that need to happen when you're calling your sphere. So here's the 3 things. Number 1 is you just simply need to ask them how they're doing. You say, well, wait a second here, George, I heard you say don't ask how people are doing when they're for sale by owner expired, just listed, just sold, internet lead. And I say, yeah, don't ask. Because it is not your right to ask because you don't know who they are. And still some of you will ask. So, all right, but I would encourage you not to ask how people are doing. Jump right into the deal, right? So, but with your sphere, how are you doing? Number 2, how can I help you? What can I do to help you? Now, this doesn't have to be the order, but these 3 things should happen. And the 3rd is create value. Now you say, George, well, how come you don't have a 4th? Shouldn't you be closing? That should be a given. But I believe that you earn the right to close someone based on the value that you give to someone. Think about that for a minute. You've earned the right to close them because, let's even say it a different way, contribution to their life. When you give, it's easy to get. So what are you contributing to someone else's life? So if I'm talking, even if I was talking to whether I was talking to even other clients, even if they were for sale by owners, expired, just listed, just sold, internet leads, and any other sources of business, I still would want to know how they're doing it. Eventually, what can I do to help you? And then I'm going to bring you value. And the value I'm typically going to bring is either my leadership, maybe it's knowledge, information, but something of value that I bring to someone. So if you want to be incredibly good at what you do and you're building the best asset, look, remember, your business should be getting easier. Your business should be raising its sales prices automatically, and your business should have it to where no one is asking you going, hey, Andy, what do you do for a living? Are you still in lending? If that's happening, we all know we're messing up how we're approaching our sphere. Our past clients, right, our centers of influence, the people who will champion our cause, we're missing the boat if we don't look at that closely. So with that being said, let's just role play, just a scenario. Russ, will you role play with me? I'll be the agent, you just be the client. But I just want to role play a sphere. And people say, well, what should be valuable? Well, look, days on market, new listing, an updated mortgage program, value, something that came out from HUD, something that came out from the market, statistical, data, info, something that gives value to that person. And look, yes, you can close. I have no problem with closing, but closing should be automatic based on the value and the contribution that you give to people. So if you focus on how you're doing, how can I help you, and I'm here to give value to your life, you can't fail in this thing. And I'm watching agents who have been in this business a long time who are not getting business from their sphere. Now ask yourself why you're not getting it. Is it that you haven't contacted them? Maybe. But have you brought enough value to them that they choose you? Have you stayed in contact with them long enough? And everything's so interesting is that the home they're living in, they're gonna get a bigger home the next time. So if your prices aren't going up, then there's something going wrong. And one of the best ways, Brendan, I've seen people maintain teams is they work their sphere for them, right? So I'm making sure I have like Wise Agent, I'm making sure that I have the platform for all of these different things so my team members have their sphere being built, along with, of course, internet leads and any other lead sources you guys are going for. Okay, ready? Or any thoughts, comments? Lee, and then I'll role play with Russ.
It's hard sometimes for me to call my sphere, because I try to call them every 3 months, and it's like, what's new and different that I can talk to them about? But in our Moxie training, there's the neighborhood report, so it's been a really good thing for me. I'm like, hey, would you like to know what's going on in your neighborhood? There's this great report, I can just send it out, you get it once a month, is that something you'd like to see? And they never say no. And then it gives me an opportunity to go look at their neighborhood report, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just looking. So it's another way, the average price in your area is boom, look at the equity you have.
Yeah.
And then I can talk to them about an investment. So there's so many ways to talk to your sphere and try and get them engaged. Or if I see a really great investment property, like a little condo for $299, I'm like, oh my gosh, have you ever thought about an investment property? This is a great opportunity, and if they say, oh no, well, do you know someone else that would want it?
Right?
So there's value and there's a reason to call.
Yeah.
So you have to create a reason in your
Right.
own mind, so
Bring
you
value,
feel
right?
like you're bothering them.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I have found over the years, if I bring value to the table or a reason to call, which is another way to say it, I always have a good experience because I've brought value. It's not me always trying to get something,
You're
take
giving.
something. I'm giving something, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm gonna say this in this role play. Whatever someone's income, how many times of their income should they be buying a house? 4. Yeah, 4 times their income, right? So remember, the average US citizen the average homeowner in America has over $200,000 of equity in their homes. Just because was fact checked earlier, I think a week or so ago, said 11%. But how much is the value in homes gone up in 2024 in just Salt Lake County, how much did they
8
go
or
up?
9?
Yeah, 8%, right? Or what are we saying? 8%. So, I mean, just think about like just even conversations, right? Of how, look, you put down how much on this home, it went up this much in value. What are you doing with the equity to build your financial future? Guys, people are not, by the way, I went to, because I'm even just trying to, look, I'm practicing what I'm preaching. On Friday, I went to lunch and breakfast, both. Went to lunch and breakfast on Friday where I met with some of my longtime sphere. By the time it was said and done, the guy at lunch was telling me everything that was in his 401k, how much he had, when he planned on retiring, where his shortages were, what he should be doing with equity in his house, and we're working on putting a transaction together. And I was thinking, man, this is not this complicated of conversation. I'm just having a conversation about my commitment to helping someone be able to retire, have wealth, have abundance, and to be rich. And I just would go back to you again. I've said this to when some of you were in the room, but how many people have shown up in your life and going, hey, Brennan, my commitment is to make sure you're rich. There's not very many people that show up in your life and go, man, that's what I'm gonna do. My dad didn't even do that. I mean, I only have had 2 people in my life that said, I'm gonna make sure you're rich. Well, think about if you showed up with the idea that your job is to make sure they are wealthy enough or rich enough or have enough to provide for an awesome and amazing retirement. That's a very different place than, who do you know that's thinking of buying or selling real estate in the near future? And you can still ask that, but man, reminding yourself, like I talked about either earlier this week or last week, whenever it was, but just remembering, who are you? You're a coach. Now think about this when I role play this. I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm an advisor, I'm a protector. So if I come from that space and remember that's who I am when I talk to Russ, well, that's a different conversation when I talk to him, because I remember I'm in the wealth building business. I'm on the side of making sure you're rich. And by the way, I don't care whether it's an internet lead to a just listed to your sphere. Everybody wants to hear that from someone going, whoa, you're committed to making sure I'm rich, that I build wealth, that I have equity, that I have a home, that I can live the American dream. Yeah, how many people are that committed to helping you do that? And they're gonna look at you like, or tell you on the phone, not very many. Well, you're meeting one right now, because we're gonna make sure you're living the American dream. And that is a whole different space when you come from it as a space of coach, mentor, advisor, protector, leader. So come from that space. Okay, Russ, ring.
Oh,
You're just a sphere, but let's say I sold you a house even 15 years ago, because that's probably what it would have been, and that's fine. All right? How many people have not talked to their sphere in a long time? Right? How many of you have sold a home and it was 3 months ago and still haven't talked to, 3 or 4 months ago? How many, in the last 3 or 4 months, how many of you have had a sale? Have you called those people? Have you talked with them consistently? Have you had a conversation with them to know who else they have that wants to buy or sell property? Do you know how much easier your life will be when you do that consistently? That should be all the bonuses that come along. Okay, so let's just say you're 15 years old. You want to be 15 years old? Just kidding. 15 years
Yes,
ago. Yes, I know, that'd be great. All right, ring.
hello.
Hey Russ, George Morris, Entry 21. How you doing today?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, look, you and I haven't talked for a long time. In fact, I haven't even talked to you about real estate, but I know obviously you bought the home. I know you're in the same home, and I'm calling you about real estate. But before I jump into that, let me ask you, how are you doing?
Doing great.
How's your family doing? I noticed on Facebook that it looks like you're going to a bunch of basketball games.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's that going for you? How old's your son?
He's 16.
16, so is he playing high school ball or is that rec?
Just rec. So.
Rec, all right, very cool. So how many kids do you have now, Russ?
3.
3, good for you. And then what are you doing? I can't even remember what you're doing business-wise. What are you doing work-wise right now? What are you up to?
Software
Oh, software, all right. And are you independent or are you working with a company?
for a company.
Okay, which company are you working with?
ABC.
All right, and is ABC treating you pretty good, especially in today's economy?
Yeah, they're doing all right.
All right, good. How long have you been doing software? I don't think I remember that. I know it's been a few years since we've chatted.
Yeah, about 20 years.
Wow, and 20 years with the same company.
Yeah,
Well, you don't hear that very often anymore.
no,
Yeah, and so let me ask you a question, just as we're jumping in, so we'll jump back to real estate, but, got any trips planned for this summer? Going anywhere fun?
yeah, my one son is in Ohio, so I'm gonna go visit him.
Ohio?
Yep,
Wow, where's he in Ohio?
in Columbus.
All right, excellent. Are you a golfer, Russ? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Are you? Well, you know,
Yeah, we were supposed
the
to go.
Memorial's this weekend in Columbus, Ohio. You need to get back there and see Jack Nicklaus.
I know, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Hey, so let me ask you a question. In relationship, so let's just talk about dreams. So in relationship to your business and what you're doing, just in general, how are you using real estate to build your future?
Really haven't,
I mean, obviously you have a home you bought,
well, yeah.
right? And you're still in the same home. In fact, do you remember how much we bought that home for?
Like $250.
$250,000. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And do you remember how much you put down?
25,000 or something?
Yeah, it wasn't very much. I mean, let's just say it's obviously I know it's been a few years, but let's just say it was 10%, right? So you put down 25 grand. Do you know how much your home is worth now? I have some numbers, but I wanted to share some things with you.
Yeah, I heard like 650 or something.
Yeah, I mean, here's what's crazy. How many investments you have right now that you put 25 grand down and earned $400,000+ on?
Just the one.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me, what are you doing with the equity right now in your home?
Nothing.
Nothing. You know what I call that? Dead equity. Because it's not making you money, is it?
No.
It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. If you haven't been using real estate, what would you like to see happen? Have you considered the idea of even purchasing another home? Have you considered even renting the one you're in and buying another one? Have you considered even the idea of an investment property of some sort?
I've always thought about an investment property, but haven't done anything. We've thought maybe about buying another house.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, obviously, I haven't talked to you in 10 years, I mean, in the sense about real estate, even though I've seen you. So let me just ask you, in the relationship to that, I mean, you obviously are earning more money, I would hope, 10 years later, right? You wouldn't be with the same company if you're not, right?
Yep.
So let me ask you this question. So as you're moving through your career, I always have a belief that you should be in a home 4 times your annual salary. So for you, are you in the right home if it's worth $600,000?
No, like I said, we've thought about buying another one.
And plus you have equity in this house to go to the next one, right?
Exactly.
Right, and so if you had $1 million home, instead of having only, let's just say $400,000 of equity, if you had $1 million home and knowing that home values are kind of doubling themselves every 5 to 10 years, it'd be nicer to have $1 million, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So let's do this, let's get together and let's put together a plan. And let's see what it looks like. Look, I don't know if it's the right time, plus I haven't seen you. And by the way, of course, like always, if you know of anybody who's thinking of buying or selling real estate, I would love to chat with them. But I'd love to sit down with you, talk about a plan, see where things are, and let's hit a lunch or a breakfast. What would be better for you?
Probably lunch.
All right, great. Let's hit lunch. I got next week available. In fact, I'm available any morning next week. What works best for you?
Probably Wednesday.
All right, Wednesday, and then we go from there. And then I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna talk about retirement. I'm gonna talk about investing. I'm gonna talk about real estate. I'm gonna bring value to the table. But guys, look, here's the thing that's interesting. Working your sphere is the most important ingredient to your success in this business. It is, even if I talk to Brian Burnett, who will sell 200-300 homes this year, I asked him this 2-3 weeks ago, it was probably 3-4 weeks ago. I said, how much of your business is your sphere today? He goes, 70%. He's calling internet leads, he's calling just listed, just sold, he's calling for sale by owners, he's calling expired, he's calling it all. But still 70% of his business comes from his sphere. So that means that over $2 million of income a year will come from his sphere. 2 million of his income from his sphere. So I just would encourage you, like the words of the late Stephen R. Covey, urgent and important, not urgent, but important. For me talking about the sphere, I'd say not urgent, but the most important asset you will build in this business. And I watch, again, agents not work it. Don't stay committed to it. Don't build depth and relationships. Look, there's a reason, whether it's 40 people, 50 people, 30 people. Guys, there's 30 or 40 people in your life that would refer you literally almost every month a deal, or at least a possible deal. And yet we will bang our head against the phone over and over and over again, not building the most important asset that you have at your disposal. And some of you are really not working that. You're not slowing down enough to create a relationship. And look, I went to breakfast and I went to lunch, but I secured deals from it. The last dinner I went to dinner with, I picked up a listing and the deal's under contract, and Dave and Lila, a commercial deal, have it under contract. That was the last dinner I went to dinner with the last of my sphere. So I know you are no different. The average person, how many people do they know are buying or selling real estate in a given year? The average person. Do you know? You guys know this, right? 7 people. Aubrey, 7 people. Savannah, you will know 7 people, even as young as you are, you will know 7 people that are thinking of buying or selling a piece of real estate this year. 7, on average, is what people know on a given year. 7 times 200-300 people in your sphere, let's say it's 3, and you have 3, that's 900 opportunities with 300 people in your sphere. Of people, at minimum, that are thinking of buying and selling real estate. And then we sit there and pound FSBOs, expires, just listed, just sold, internet leads. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just telling you, do not miss the most important asset that exists in this business. Kyle, how long have you been in this business?
14,
How many sales have you had in 14 years?
230 or so.
So 230 people times 7. There's 1,400 opportunities with those 230 people. Let alone, you have all of your sphere, people you know, friends, family, and other people you know. It's bigger than that. So don't miss out on the most important ingredient to your business, which is your sphere. All right, we gotta roll. Okay, any thoughts, comments? By the way, if you don't have a sphere and you can't get it all together at once, look, I haven't put my sphere together for a long time. All I'm doing is just, Brendan, I'm adding 5 people to my sphere a day. That's it. I just add 5 people a day. Piece of cake, 5 people a day. When I was in full sales every single day, I just did 2. I would add 2 from whether it was a for sale button or expired. It didn't matter where I got them. If I met someone that I connected with, I added them to my sphere. Then I started mailing them, emailing them, snail mail, calling them, client invites or appreciation. I just started building this arsenal of people, this army that's out there doing things for me. And that's what you're building. You're building an army. That's what your sphere is, of people who are like going, hey, I'm gonna make sure I refer Andy every single time someone talks about real estate. So remember how important it is that it's not one thing, it's multiple things that you wanna do on a daily basis. Okay, thoughts, comments?
It's such a good reminder to keep it simple and focus on your values so you can prospect. I think we hesitate prospecting more because we don't really know our value and what we're gonna provide.
Yeah.
So you've been talking about it internally, if you focus on your value more, you'll prospect more.
I like
What
that.
are you providing?
Yeah, very, very good. Brenda Lee?
One other thing, when you're talking with your SOI and you ask, how are you using real estate? I sometimes, depending on the person, will talk about 401ks, IRAs, because I bought 2 properties with self-directed IRAs, and you don't know what you don't know, and I may be throwing that out and someone's like, what the heck is a self-directed IRA? But it's a way to buy property with your IRA money. I'm not a stocks and
Right.
bonds girl, I don't know stocks and bonds. If people are loving that, then they'll keep their money there. But if you at least offer them the opportunity to understand what it is, so there's great little seminars and classes and web whatever they call them, that people can learn about self-directed IRAs, and it's a great way for them to invest and have the money right there.
I agree.
And I
Okay.
think that would be great to
Let's roll.
teach us so we can
Absolutely.
share that.
Absolutely. Who was I just talking to that was converting this to be able to do that?
It's good
Yes,
though.
anyway, yes, I agree 100%. You're bringing value to the table.
Yeah.
Another angle to be able to buy property. All right, here we go. I succeed.